Edition of the South Texas Power Lunch. My name is Matt Duke. I am the managing attorney for the South Texas Business Lawyers. And we do these podcasts every couple of weeks to feature entrepreneurs, startup founders here in our community that you need to know about because they're doing just amazing things. We're streaming live right now from Geekdom here in downtown San Antonio. And if you don't know Geekdom, a quick plug, it is a community of like-minded individuals that are out there innovating and creating just amazing products and services here in our community. And today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk with some startup founders here in San Antonio, based out of Geekdom, that are engaged in some technologies that are really, 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 really amazing. This is going to be a two-parter for us. We typically stream on Thursdays, and because of just some logistical issues on my side here, we've had to do it break it up into a couple of different episodes here. But you're in for a real treat as we talk to Ray Cantu and Laura Ruiz-Rocha about their technologies that they're working on. And so we're going to be having two different sessions here during this podcast today. And then we're going to bring everybody together and talk just in general. So that way you can hear straight from the front lines of those that are actively creating their companies, dealing with issues of startups and early stage venture-backed companies, and really learn from what those that are doing it on the front line. So to go ahead and just get us into this, we're going to bring in Ray from ColdCALR to talk with Ray. Ray, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Man, this works. I always love technology and we made it work. I love it. I love it, man. Hey, brother, thanks so much for coming on here and talking about ColdCALR. And what we always do is we always want to talk about the journey because it is a journey. And let's talk about the journey of Ray, and then we'll move into the journey of ColdCALR. But give everybody the history. How did you become a startup founder?
Yeah. Well, first off, Matt, thank you for the invite.
Of
Really
course.
appreciate the time that you've given us. Yeah. To answer that question, I really don't even know how I ended up here. You know,
Hey, me neither, man. I got to tell you what, you go look back and it looks like it's a straight line, but it's actually a bunch of squiggles. So I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. Then you look back and you're just like, okay, I can connect the dots, kind of, sort of. Um,
Well, where'd you start off your career at? What were you doing at that point in time?
Yeah. So, my journey in this venture actually started in real estate. I was using Geekdom as my co-working spot for my real estate deals. I was just coming in here. I was able to network, make some phone calls. This was kind of like when it was slow during the COVID days.
Mhm.
But I told myself, like I said, if I just stick around long enough, something's going to come to me. I'll have an idea that I can run through their programming. And, I heard great things about it. Really just have to show up with an idea and that will help you turn it into a profitable venture. So I kind of banked on that promise. And as soon as I had a concept, I said, let's go, let's run. And here we are almost a year later.
That's fantastic. So, with regard to what your innovation was, that idea, tell us about Cold Caller.
Yeah. So this started Um, January 2023, really. This is when ChatGPT first became available to the masses. I tell this story pretty often, but I literally took off the entire month of January.
Wow.
I saw an opportunity. I remember I heard an influencer say that they had gotten 1 million users faster than any other platform, and all I heard was just like opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. And so I literally dropped everything. I said, "All right, let's get in this." Before that, I was an online coach. So I was an early adopter to Facebook and Instagram. I mean, you can almost call me like an OG influencer, like before it was even a thing.
We're gonna
you
call
know,
you OG from now on.
OG, I'll take it. Oh, but I saw this, like I saw the technology, and I was like, "Holy moly!" Like I know exactly what to do with this. My question was, what can it do? Like, what can it do?
Mm.
What can it not do? and eventually, like, we were able to mold it into what it is today. So today, we're using generative AI and voice enablement as both a sales bot for organizations as well as a role playing partner for existing systems. So, we're able to tap into CRMs or any other data set and take our cog and bring your system to life, almost like layering in putting in a layer of generative AI and voice enablement. So it's been one heck of a run so far.
Well, and I've had the privilege to be able to see some of these AI platforms. I don't know if personalities. I'm not sure what to call those, but give everybody a flavor of these personalities that y'all are creating to be able to to help organizations, whether it is directly to the sales call or for training.
Yeah, that's really a big part of our secret sauce there. Is we've learned how to bring these bots to life. How to give them personality, how to give them a voice. You can still right now tell that you're talking to a bot, but give us another 2 3 months and you won't even be able to realize that that's happening. So we're at that point, and the technology is super super exciting.
Well, and a lot of the training that I've seen, and I think people just need to understand, oh, okay, it's a bot, and we hear about AI and bots all the time, but give us a scenario of how you guys use the bots and one of your the personalities that y'all have created for training purposes.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone through a wide variety of characters that we've created, mostly in experimentation. So that's one of the great things about being here at Geekdom is that you have so much opportunity to experiment. Experiment in what you're building, and go and pitch it to somebody. In every experimentation, you get an opportunity to go pitch it for the first time and see,
Right.
how the audience is responding. So we've shared some bots with the community that they pretty much laughed at. They're like, Ray, don't do that again. I'm like, all right, I won't. I won't. But some of the most interesting ones are the ones that we created for startup founders. To be able to emulate a VC or an investor. Like, we'll connect you with the bot, and you have a conversation pitching your idea, and you're going to be asked all the questions that a VC is going to ask you. And so, like, the whole concept is, and I've seen this firsthand, because we're out there raising money right now, is you really don't have too many opportunities, right? First impression counts. It counts a lot. So to go in there and be prepared could be the difference in getting a check or not.
It's fascinating that you said that. I didn't know y'all were doing that in the, startup founder, but it makes sense because I mean, the pitch deck itself, as you're, well aware, it essentially is the first part of the sales process, which is closing the deal of closing funding from that investor. And sometimes people miss the fact that it's got to be enough that it catches enough attention for, again, like a sales process. Are you interested? Are you moving down the process that want to get more information? Are you moving to the process where, you're, you know, um, uh, likely target, you've given verbal commitment all the way to you've getting written commitment and we get the check from that. One of the other personalities, which personality do you use for that? Is that like, I mean, you had one that was like a mob boss, if I remember, that I got to see. Is that the one you use for the VCs?
So that character is called the Wolf,
Oh,
and
there you go. I hope that's who
mhm.
you use for the VC, pitcher is some sort of deviation from the wolf. Not all of them are wolves, but a whole lot of them are.
Well, what's interesting, Matt, is that having a pitch deck is one thing, and Geekdom and the programming, they do a really great job at that. Getting your pitch deck sound, making it look good, helping you with the presentation. But ultimately, you're going to have to go behind closed doors. You're going to be in a conference room. You're going to be talking to the VC, and trust me, they're going to put some pressure on you. They're going to
Mhm.
ask you some questions. They're going to see if you flinch. They're going to see what you're made of, and they want to see your response. And if you've gone into a meeting and you've practiced with our bots 50 times, I guarantee you there's not going to be a question that they're going to ask you that you don't have an answer for. And it's a completely different scenario when you come across as knowledgeable and you know what you're talking about because you've practiced it 50 times versus trying to figure it out on the fly and coming across as somebody that's you know not worth the investment at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, in every, part of sales, or just communication and trying to communicate it. I mean, I've been down the path personally. I've been with a whole lot of clients and even companies that, I've helped with their pitch decks. And each time you do it, you learn something a little bit more, right? And there's a tweak to it, or you refine this, or you change that. And so
Mhm,
to be able to have, you can only find so many people. Hey, can I pitch you, that can give good feedback? 4 or 5. But if you're able to do that 50 times,
mhm,
through there, yeah, I would suspect that, come 30, 40 times into that, you get to start some confidence, refining, and you feel very, really, really well prepared.
mhm.
Um, let's talk about your journey. Let's go all the way back to you were bootstrapping for a while, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. We were early in on this. It took a while for the technology to catch up to where our vision was, and we're still a little bit ahead of it. We bootstrapped for a good while, before we got our first check from Geekdom, which that was extremely helpful for us.
That's great. That's great. Talk a little bit about one of the biggest surprises from bootstrapping in that process.
You know, I guess I would say this. In the space that we're in with generative AI, um, I wish I would have known how um, how much companies want you to succeed. And
Hmm.
what I mean by that is, when we first started out, we were sponsored by Google. Since then, we've also picked up sponsorship from Microsoft, AWS, and some other providers that we use. And if I could go back in time, like I would have made that ask a lot sooner. Matter of
Okay.
fact, to all the people here in the community, like I'm huge advocate. Like, go talk to these people, get some credits. There's all kinds of programs readily available, for hungry entrepreneurs. All you got to do is go ask.
Oh, that's interesting. I had heard, some of those were certain technologies, I mean, sponsorship or basically credits, right, to be able to help you get started, that type of stuff. How was it with the Geekdom Fund? Talk about your experience there, because that was your first
Mhm,
pitch for capital, right? Talk a
mhm.
little bit about that process.
Yeah, that was a big learning curve. Understanding really focus. For us.
Mm,
We've got such a big vision with the product that we're building. Most recently we started working on sales bots. That you can actually have somebody call and they can do selling for you. Now, they're not perfect. They're going to
right.
continue to evolve, but for a growing company, they're invaluable. Um, when we were pitching for Geekdom, like I saw where we're at right now. I can see where we're going to be at in 5 years. I can see where we're at in 10 years. However, I needed to make sure that the investor had confidence that we could get to first base first, right? Like just
Sure.
just get to that first base. That's what we need confidence. And then once you get there, you get some traction, you get some wind under your wings, and you can continue to explore and see yourself all the way around to home base.
No, that's great. And remind me, which quarter, how long ago did you guys get the award for the community fund?
Yeah, I'm looking at my check on my wall right now. It
You
was
got the date
dated,
exactly.
yeah, October 16th, 2023.
There you go, October 16th, 2023. And those are the type of things that, again, from a startup standpoint, that people need to realize, are available out there. And I'm sure the lesson you learned, from pitching that day, or sometimes it's been 2 days that you do that, versus now pitching to, even more different investors, you've learned a lot.
I've learned tons, and I I I think like my message here, for everybody that's listening, but also to myself as a reminder, is that you're not going to get it right the first time.
Mm,
So it's just like sales, right? Like the important thing is to have a full and healthy pipeline. That way, you can afford to swing and miss a few times.
right.
As long as you're learning, as long as you've got some more opportunities in front of you, then the only way that you really lose is if you give up.
Awesome. Ray, we're gonna put you back into our virtual green room. I don't know if it's green or not. I haven't been in there, but we'll be back in here with Ray in just a few minutes, so that way we can talk together. But we're gonna go ahead and bring in Laura now from CodeFlight. Laura, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks for being a part of our progression as we do this podcast into this live set. So let's just jump right into that. Tell us how you got to CodeFlight. Give us your personal journey, and then tell us a little bit about CodeFlight.
Sure. So I myself actually attended a coding boot camp a couple years ago, and through that journey, I started my own personal brand called Suitcase Coder, where I've been talking about the learn to code journey from the start, because when I was going through it back in 2017, 2018, there wasn't much out there. So that began with a podcast, a YouTube channel, and eventually grew onto TikTok and Instagram and all the socials. And then since graduating from that coding boot camp, I've had a couple freelance jobs here and there as a developer, and I primarily became a web dev instructor at several coding boot camps.
Okay.
And so through that journey, I've kind of been on both sides of learning how to code, teaching how to code, and through social media, really connecting with a larger community of developers who are going through that journey. And from all that, I kind of realized that there was something missing from the existing spaces right now for learning to code. So that's kind of how I came about CodeFlight. And I will say, give all of my credit to Geekdom's startup bootcamp that I went through last year, and helping me take it from an idea to going ahead and launching CodeFlight, the personalized learn to code platform that will help people through that journey in a way that's more guided than self-taught coding, but more accessible than some of the other options out there.
So tell us a little bit more about CodeFlight and what, your target audience, like your target customers and what you're doing. Because coding, especially here in San Antonio, right? We had a lot of focus on coding in, I would say, really 2015 to right before COVID. We saw a lot that was here. And what is it that CodeFlight does that you saw was a gap at that time that you're trying to fill?
Yeah, so with CodeFlight, there's a couple things that I wanted to kind of bring in different. Thing that a lot of developers will tell you is that once they've made the journey of learning to code, and once they're developers, it's easy to say, oh, you could just learn on your own. Everything's out there. And that's true. However, as somebody who's at the beginning stages of that, a lot of senior developers forget that when you are getting started, you don't know what you don't know yet. And so going out and finding the right resources can turn into months of just going down the wrong rabbit holes, and maybe going down rabbit holes that aren't continuous into the right path. So that's one thing is getting people access to what we call our discovery quiz. And by answering a few simple questions, we kind of identify what their end goal is, and then working backwards from there and making sure that the roadmap that we provide to them is personalized to their unique goals. And another thing we saw is a lot of people who end up kind of in that boat turn to something like a university or coding bootcamp because they don't have to think about go on to spend sometimes thousands of dollars in joining a coding bootcamp and getting that roadmap kind of paved out for them. And one of the struggle points that I saw happen kind of often was graduating from a coding bootcamp and recognizing that what was available didn't necessarily match their skills that they had just gained, or they weren't getting maybe some of that hands-on practice. And yeah, as an instructor, some of my most successful students that I saw were those that had that curiosity to continue learning. And so with CodeFlight being self-paced and virtual, it's something that people can pick up when their curiosity kind of gets to them and have some time to jump in and get coding.
That's fantastic. And it's interesting because my son is interested in coding and cyber tech. So for me, I listen to all these things because, it's not a path that I went down, for it there. So I think that's just fantastic, to be able to do that. Cause I have heard, I mean, there's skill development, from the basics of coding and those sort of things, but from a progression standpoint, there's not a lot that's out there. And, coding is very much a freelancer, type arrangement, whether you're working with an agency or a group or, just on your own. So no, that makes complete sense to me. Let me ask you a question a little bit more about your journey from the ideation part. What was one of the biggest surprises you had when you were putting all of this, which is a very comprehensive, solution together? What was one of the biggest surprises you had?
I'm so sorry. Do
Oh,
you mind repeating that question?
no, no, but I was
You
gonna
got
say, I
spotty
think
there
we
for a second.
froze. Now it's yeah. When you go live, this is what that happens for us. So I'll repeat it again. What was one of your biggest lessons you learned in just the ideation part, where you were putting all of this together for your big idea?
So one thing that I'm learning more and more, and after going through all of Geekdom's programs, was the importance of talking to people and talking to the community. And in that process, kind of as a founder, I'll talk on that first. Being a founder, understanding the importance of knowing what your community wants and what your target audience wants, and building out kind of those starting points of your business based on their needs and wants and what they're already asking for. So that was one big learning curve. And then the second one, kind of what I've learned in talking to a lot of these people who are wanting to be developers, is kind of regardless of whether you are getting started in learning to code or have already graduated from a coding boot camp, or you've been a junior developer for a little bit, one thing that I continue to see is individuals who still want that guidance and that roadmap to follow as they continue learning. Because if any developer is listening, you know that learning to code never ends and there's always more to learn.
No, that's super helpful. Now, on the financial part of this, where are you on that journey? How is that going? Is it bootstrapping right now, or you have friends and family? Have you guys started to raise? Did
I
you hear me on
apologize.
that
I
one?
think you froze again. Do you mind asking that last?
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's all
Do you
right.
mind re-asking that
So
last one?
just are you bootstrapping right now? Are you raising from private investors? What does it look like on the financial side for y'all?
Yeah, so where I'm at with the business currently is we finally have an MVP ready to launch. Should be launching May 3rd. So if anybody's interested in learning to code, you can go ahead and join the waitlist for special promo that we'll be offering. And from there, last year I had the chance to pitch quite a few times through the community fund. I was a part of Geekdom's incubator and pre-accelerator program, which at the end also has a pitch competition. And what I've learned is that I was missing that MVP users, using the platform, giving me feedback, and being able to provide growth and showing what that looks like based on actual users. So I'm excited to launch on May 3rd and start pitching again. I know Geekdom has a few opportunities, including the Women's Founders Network pitch event that will be happening in October. So that's kind of one that I'm looking forward to coming back to kind of 6 months post launch with different numbers, different data, different story to tell.
How has it been, the creation of the MVP process? Have you gone through some iterations and gotten user testing and those sort of situations, or is that the next step?
So as far as the MVP goes, during my programs at Geekdom, I did create a couple what I thought were MVPs, ended up kind of being freebies now, kind of leading towards the platform launch. And I learned a lot through there. I spent countless hours working on this JavaScript course in depth, kind of bringing in all of my knowledge and the missing pieces that I saw in a lot of coding boot camps and online learning platforms. And it turned out that the freebie, the MVP that got the most traction was this front end versus back end quiz, which helps users identify kind of which path to take. And kind of like I mentioned earlier, a lot of what I'm seeing is regardless of what stage you're at in the coding journey, people are always looking for that guidance and that path, just something to kind of point them towards the right direction. And so, yeah, I'm excited to say that the platform will start every user off with that discovery quiz and provide them kind of that clarity in a simple form, regardless of which level you're at as far as coding goes.
That's fantastic. So what, it was May 3rd, is that what you said?
Yes.
May 3rd. All right. Well, Laura, hold tight for just a second. Let's see if we can get Ray back in here. We're going to see if we can do it with all of us talking. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's nice. It's a glorified Zoom chat for us here. All right. So, you know, for those that are watching here or maybe watching down the road, I've got Ray Cantu, I've got Laura, ColdCALR, CodeFlight, and we're just talking again about what it is to be an early stage founder here. And Ray, it sounds like, because you guys already have your MVP, right? Those are being deployed and you guys are refining those. Laura, MVP's launching on May 3rd, which is fantastic. So you're close, but again, everybody's on their own path, on their own journey. But let's kind of do some rapid fire questions here. Nothing crazy. We'll just go into some coding one. I'm kidding. I don't know enough about coding to ask those questions. But I'm just going to go ahead and ask a question. I'll have each of y'all answer it, and let's just kind of see where we're at. All right. What is your favorite activity? What is your more favorite activity? Marketing or fundraising? Ray, you go first.
Ooh, that's a good question. Fundraising is quickly becoming my favorite because I'm starting to get the hang of it.
Laura,
all right, it's all you here.
I didn't hear the first option, but I would definitely say the first option. Fundraising, I get very nervous talking to a room full of people, so that always kind of heightens my nerves up. So I'll go with the first option, whatever it was.
It was maintenance and janitorial services for the first option. I'm kidding. It was marketing. I get you. I mean, the reality is, I've been there the same as y'all, pitching for people, and it's frustrating. For those that are out there on the journey, we have clients that are doing multi-million-dollar fundraisers and they still hate it. For it's out there. It is one of the most time-consuming portions of a venture-backed startup that people just don't realize.
Could I add something there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you'll find this a little bit interesting. One of the first conversations that I had with you, I don't know if you remember, it might have been at the big pitch event, and we were talking about commercial real estate, and I remember what you said. You're like, hey Ray, I'm a deal maker. And I said, and I've learned to remind myself that during these fundraisers, right? It's like, hey, be a deal maker. Just be a deal maker, and so so hats off to you for speaking those words into my ear, because that's that I think of that quite often.
No, that's great. I'm glad sometimes those words come out. I'm gonna have to remind my kids. See, when I tell all those stories, they do matter sometimes for those. But yeah, the deal maker, outlook is the truth, right? The exciting thing about the fundraising, and I'm sure both of y'all have experienced this, is you do have people that are excited about what you're doing and want to be a part of it. Combing through and finding those that will actually give you the money too. That's like another level that's there. But no, that's fantastic. Let me move to the next question here. And this is not one of those, others. Laura, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay now.
Okay, great. So, what was your favorite part of pitch decks when you started doing those?
My favorite part of um, understanding of my own business. I think Ray mentioned this earlier on, is the more you do the pitch deck and the more you start to pitch, the more you learn about your own business and where the holes in your own business are. Because if you're getting questions that you don't need the answers to, then that's like a clear go-to task that you can make sure that you're covering in that pitch deck. So it's a good way to kind of see where you're at and what you're missing.
Perfect. Ray, what about you?
Oh, and I'm not a fan of putting together pitch decks. That's not my skill set.
So you
My
like fundraising, but not the pitch deck part of fundraising, the deal making. I got it. You're the deal maker.
actually, a funny story is Laura. She showed me a trick. She said, "Hey, you can go onto Canva and use one of their templates." I was like, "Huh? Okay."
Oh, well, there you go. There's probably a bot for that one too there, Ray, that'll help you do it as well. I haven't looked in a while. So let's talk a little bit about the future, because we talked about to each of you individually about where you guys are today and your journey to get here. What's next for? I would say, what's the next 6 to 12 months look like for big picture for ColdCALR, Ray? What's next on y'all's agenda?
Yeah, so that's a very, very interesting question. A big thing that we learned going through the process was to kind of like watch everything, experiment and watch everything, be ready to pivot, be ready to capitalize on opportunities. And one of the things that is screaming out to us that we didn't see at the very beginning was our global audience. We're
Mm.
getting a lot of traffic. We did some early SEO, so we've got several top 5 rankings, and we've been watching the traffic, for the past 9 months, and a lot of it is coming from overseas.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, we're already, an international business, but to understand that market. And deliver a product for that, that's exciting for us. Um, Outside of that, there's been some huge advances in the technology. I can tell you firsthand because we're in a lot of the startup programs, so we get to see a lot of what's coming out before the masses, and we're really excited about the upgrades in our technology from a voice perspective. Right now we've got a plethora of voices that we can use. We could do voice cloning, we could do multilingual, Spanish, English, French, German, combination of them. So we're excited to implement those and to continue to build up a customer base overseas.
That's fantastic. Laura, I know May 3rd's coming up, so that's within that time frame. But give us a little bit more of what does the next 6 to 12 months look like, even once you launch that MPV?
Yeah, so definitely, obviously, launch. Our big goal is to getting as many users on the platform as possible, but more importantly, to getting that feedback from the user so we can continue to improve add and add on to our platform. I know there's a lot of features that I would like included, but you got to start with what we have and then grow from there. And like I said earlier, learning from our own users, and then as I mentioned earlier, as well as continuing that funding journey and that pitching competitions and kind of showing how we've grown and how we hope to.
Awesome. I think I don't know. I think I may have lost you right at the very end, but we got that there. Last question for both of you. Perfect. Last question for both of y'all. Your favorite part of Geekdom? I would say your favorite part of your legal journey, but that would be a really bad answer, I'm sure. In talking about law services, no one likes to pay lawyers at this. But so let's talk about Geekdom. Laura, what is your favorite part of Geekdom? Because you guys are so engaged here.
I would definitely say the community, having sitting in a space where there's so many other founders and people who kind of understand that journey and regardless of their industry, there's always support around you, and maybe some healthy competition, as Ray knows. He's kind of placed us in healthy competition, and it's a good reminder um, that we're here to grow our business and to use our community as something to help us grow and not, not compete against each other. So it's been
That's
fun.
great. Ray, what
Yeah,
about you?
so many things that I love about Geekdom. From a San Antonio perspective, I think that Geekdom is definitely the nucleus of growth. That's my own opinion. But I feel like where it's located, and the people that are pulling the strings from the top, are definitely guiding the city in the right direction. You could see the efforts in expansion from Geekdom, and from this area. And so what I really love is the DNA that's embedded into the community. You see the leadership team here, they're out there pitching for money, they're out there, getting new programs, they're out there expanding, and all that's contagious. It goes from the top down, and I think it's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Yeah, no, this is great. We enjoy being here at Geekdom, and enjoy being a part of the community, and dealing with leadership as they go about their vision, because again, they are committed. I mean, this is our community. They are committed to the community, and it's been great to be a part of. Well, Ray, Lauda, I can't thank you enough for your time. Thanks for being a part of this great of experiment as we take our MVP into this new realm here of being able to do multiple people in different locations. I wish you guys the best, and let us know if we can help y'all with anything.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
See
Thank you
y'all.
so much. Thanks for having us.
Well, for those that are still watching here with us, thanks so much for watching this podcast. I mean, this is a passion I have, where we get to feature Ray, Lauda, others in our community that are out there doing amazing things. And it is not an easy road. It is very, 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 very hard. It's not for the faint of heart. What they do day in, day out, with the fact of failure is looming for a lot of founders, is incredible. Their perseverance, their resilience, the community here that you already heard, they were both working together and talking, and have, lifted each other up. Just here in this community is fantastic. So thank you for watching. If you're watching us online, click to subscribe. If you're, listening to us on any of our platforms, leave us a note. Click to subscribe so you don't miss what's going on in our community. If you're interested in ColdCALR, if you're interested in CodeFlight, check our description. You can get to those links. There's MPVs that you can engage with, your organization can engage with. And again, this is leading edge technology that's happening right here in San Antonio. We hope you've enjoyed this live podcast stream. Again, we are with the South Texas Business Lawyers, and our personal mission is to educate, advise, and support every small business owner and startup founder in the state of Texas. And we are honored that we do that for hundreds of clients on a weekly basis on their journeys, whether they're just getting started out, all the way to those that are being acquired or buying new or acquiring companies of their own. It's a pleasure to be a part of that community. It's a pleasure to be a part of the Geekdom community here. And we look forward to seeing you guys on our next episode.